Hello, everybody. I haven't done one of these in a while. This is Ignorant Bliss, and I'm going to do a review. Um, this is for the 2018 version of Susperia. So, some of you might know, some of you might not know, might be cinephiles. Back in like the 70s, late 70s, Dario Argento put out this horror film. Kind of like, man, maybe, is it art horror? I'm gonna use that term. That might not even be a term, right? This film by a dancer ends up in like a coven of witches. It's really weird. Color's really bright. I can never really get into it. And found out not too recently that they had a remake. I can't think of the director's name right now, but he did "Call Me by Your Name." He also did "A Bigger Splash." I love "A Bigger Splash." Some of the actors that was in that film starring this one, namely Tilda Swinton and Dakota Johnson. Tilda Swinton plays like three characters in this. The story is more is now he calls it now an homage to the remake. It first of all, the joint is like 157 minutes, yo. 157 minutes. It's a long movie, y'all. It's not like as long as like director's edition's Lord of the Rings, but the director's edition Lord of the Rings is like super fire. You got action sequences and Gollum and wizards and giant birds and stuff like that. This joint, man, okay. Some of the plot is a lot of the same. Dakota Johnson plays a dancer by the name of Susie. She goes to Germany and ends up in the Marcus Dance Studio. There recently, a young woman named Patricia has left the dance troupe, claiming that the dance troupe is a coven of witches and they're evil. She disappears. Another young woman named Olga lashes out, same thing, blah, blah, blah. You find out that the main woman in charge is a Madame Blanc, played by Tilda Swinton. And she takes a keen eye on Susie because of her potential, because of her dancing, which is the way in which they do their spells, because, spoiler, they are witches. Then, really, who knows what goes on? The film decides to do some really interesting things in terms of breaking things up into acts or chapters. Um, the movie's really long. It lingers at parts for no reason. It feels like it's trying to do things in terms of talking about maybe a society that has to deal with its previous acts, uh, i.e., because it takes place in Germany in the 70s. They decided to set the movie in the year that the original movie came out in, so it has this background of the younger generation of Germans um, basically questioning and calling out the previous generations for how complicit or how they don't talk about the things that they did in terms of World War II. That's this interesting thing that mirrors some of the things going on within the dance studio and the witches, and this generational divide of sorts between the like leaders of the coven of the girls, like the teachers and all that, and the young women. Interesting things I guess it's trying to do in terms of how a community or like a small version of society that is completely run and filled with women will enact, or how the system of it goes on, and how there's still certain things like power structures, how they implemented those things of power, manipulation, lying, keeping secrets, blase, blase, blase. Um, I think that could have been better told, maybe even with a lot shorter time span. I think maybe if it was like 2 hours, a solid 120, it really worked. Um, they decided to go pretty muted with the color. In response, I guess, to the original was so bright and vivid that sometimes it's kind of like, man, you really takes place in the 70s. This has a lot more muted tone. Seems like they try to do a lot of camera techniques and editing and pans, camera movement and such, and framing that you would see in movies from the 70s, some of the art films back then. But the color grading is different. It doesn't. Maybe it was shot on film. It doesn't feel like it was shot on film. I feel like it was, shot digitally and made to look kind of like film. I can't say that I really enjoyed this film because at times it feels completely utterly masturbatory in terms of this is a smart film. This is a film. It's not some movie. And I'm like, it's just really about some witches. Like, you could have had a lot more fun with this. The ending, the climax, not the ending. The climax is hella weird. It's something that you might have to see, but it also kind of almost at a certain point a little bit too tongue in cheek and being weird at the same time. For being weird's sake. Yeah, Tom York of Radiohead does the music. Music is on point. Really works well within the story. Even though I have issues with the story, builds tension, draws you in, does really key storytelling components, puts you in the right moods at certain points. So even if you really don't know what the hell is going on, the music is kind of letting you know through feeling kind of what's going on, so you don't could be completely lost. I would review this on Adobe Radio. I think I gave it like a 6 maybe out of 10. If I'm going with stars, maybe like a 2.5 maybe just a solid 2. This was not fire. I wish I was more entertained. But that's it for this one.
Ignorant Bliss is on iTunes, Google Play Music, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Mixcloud. It's also a part of the Taylor Network of Podcasts. It is also part of Critical, the Movie Review Network on Blog Talk Radio. You can follow on Twitter IGBL Podcast. You can follow me at Julian Lytle, LYTLE, on all the major social networks. Ignorant Bliss is on Facebook, so follow, like, and the such. Ignorant Bliss Podcast. Please review the show on everything you can and share it. And the email for the show is ignorantblisspodcast@gmail.com. Always check for the show notes for links to the people that's on the show, along with any other little factoids and links to how to listen to the show and my playlist for the show. Also, the website for the show is ignorant-bliss.com. And peace.